It was almost midnight in the quiet streets of Lahore when Asher closed the small tea stall he worked at. The air was cold enough to make every breath visible, and most shops had already pulled down their shutters. He tugged his worn-out jacket tighter and started the short walk home. The streets at this hour were empty except for a few stray dogs and the occasional rickshaw passing by. Asher's life was simple: work all day, eat whatever was affordable, and go back to the small rented room where he lived alone. But tonight, something was different. Just as he turned the corner into the narrow lane that led to his building, he heard a faint sound. It was like a voice, so soft that he thought it might be the wind. But then he heard it again, a trembling whisper. "Asher." He froze and turned his head. There, standing in the dim glow of a flickering streetlight, was a girl. Her face was pale, framed by strands of hair that looked like they hadn't been combed in days. She was wearing a faded blue shawl wrapped around her tightly, and her hands were clutched together as if trying to hold herself together. Her eyes, big, glassy, and filled with something between fear and exhaustion, locked onto his. He didn't recognize her immediately, but then it clicked. Aisha. She used to come to the tea stall sometimes, usually sitting quietly in the corner, drinking chai while reading a book. She never spoke much, but her presence had always seemed gentle. That was months ago. She had stopped coming, and he hadn't seen her since. What are you doing here?" Asher asked cautiously, stepping closer. She swallowed hard, her lips trembling as she spoke. "I have nowhere to sleep." The words were barely audible, carried on shaky breaths. Something twisted inside Asher. She looked fragile, almost breakable, as if one wrong word could shatter her completely. "Nowhere? What do you mean?" he asked, scanning her face for answers. Her eyes darted to the ground, and her voice cracked. I left home. I can't go back. I have nowhere else to go. Please, don't ask me for details tonight. I just need a place to stay for one night. Just one night." For a moment, Asher stood there, torn between caution and instinct. He didn't know why she had left home, but he could tell from her trembling form and glassy eyes that she wasn't lying. The cold wind picked up again, making her shiver violently. Without thinking much more, he removed his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. "Come on," he said, his voice firm but gentle. "You can stay at my place tonight." Aisha's eyes widened slightly, as if she hadn't expected him to agree. "Are you sure? I don't want to trouble you." "It's fine," he cut in. "Let's go before you freeze out here." They walked side by side in silence, their footsteps echoing in the narrow street. Asher noticed how she kept glancing around, almost as if expecting someone to appear from the shadows. When they reached his building, he led her up the narrow staircase to his small room. It wasn't much, just a single bed, a wooden table, and a chair, but it was warm compared to the icy air outside. "You can take the bed," he said as soon as they stepped inside. "I'll sleep on the floor." Her head shot up. "No, I can't let you." "It's not up for discussion," he said firmly, grabbing a spare blanket from the cupboard. "You need rest more than I do." She stood there for a moment, her eyes glistening. "Why are you being so kind to me?" she asked quietly. Asher shrugged, trying to hide the lump forming in his throat. "Because, sometimes that's all a person needs. Someone to be kind to them." Aisha's lips trembled, and for a second, he thought she might cry. But she quickly looked away, sitting down on the bed. Asher spread his blanket on the floor and lay down, facing the ceiling. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the old fan. He didn't ask her what happened that led her here, not tonight. He figured she would tell him when she was ready. But as he closed his eyes, he heard it again, that same trembling whisper from earlier. "Thank you, Asher." And in that moment, he realized this wasn't just a random act of kindness. This was the start of something that might change both their lives forever.